What's happening, everyone? Nicky Hawkins here, West Ham Fan TV. Now, every season, West Ham let a load of players go out on loan. This season, we've got 4 players out currently on loan to other clubs. Now, how do they do when they're on loan? Well, this is a little video just to explain up to now how the guys have done on loan. And it's not just from me, we're going to hear from the fans of the other clubs, West Brom Fan TV and James Allcott of QPR, just how some of our players are getting out on loan. First off, let's start with a player that come with great potential, signed from Manchester City a few years ago. Been on loan a few times now. Sead Haksabanovic. He joined IFK Norrköping on loan this year, of course. They're well into their season, 27 games. He scored 5 goals. Interestingly enough, he scored 5 goals in the last 9 games since he's been there. Huge noises coming out of Sweden, just how well he's doing. I'm sure they'd like to sign him on permanent. Will he ever make it at West Ham? Now, I'm not sure. He's been here for a few years now. We see these types of loan players. Remember the likes of Frank Nublet, even Tony Martinez, who come with great potential and never quite fulfill it. This looks like another guy that looks like he's on his way. But if you was to read up what's going on over in Sweden at the moment, he's making headways there. So potentially could come back. And we're short of wingers at the moment, so he could fit nicely into our squad. Let's go over to West London, to QPR. Jordan Hugill, of course, on loan there. Never really got his chance at West Ham, spent the season on loan at Middlesbrough. But he is making great progress over at QPR. Now, we are very short of strikers. I'm not sure whether there's a callback for Jordan Hugill, but we are very short of strikers. He's scored 6 goals in his last 11 games for the Hoops. Making great progress there, it seems. Could he do a job for us in the Premier League? Leave a comment in the comment section down below. But don't just listen to me. Let's listen to James Lawrence Allcott, who is a QPR season ticket holder, lifelong fan, who will tell you how he's getting on and whether they would like to sign him on permanently.
Hello Nicky, hello everyone, hello boys, hope you're well. So, Jordan Hugill, I know, he sent him on his way packing, treated him like dirt, and he's come over to QPR where he's getting a bit of love and he's totally repaying us. He's been absolutely brilliant. In terms of the expectations when he came over, I think there's a general understanding that there was a storyline that he's not good enough for the Premier League and that he is a Championship striker and you don't really know why you bought him, and I'm not really sure why you did buy him. And I think that what he got dropped into, I would imagine, at West Ham as a striker who'd had a good little spell with Preston, but you weren't sure was going to be Premier League, and then going to a huge club like West Ham where they're expecting strikers to be the equivalent of, Jermaine Defoe or Di Canio. He was just sort of out of his depth, and it wasn't a good look for him. And I think he was a bit of a rod for West Ham fans' frustrations as well. So he didn't really get a chance there. From what I've heard, he hasn't been treated that great at West Ham. But ultimately that's probably because he's not of the level. So he's come over to us. Expectations were that relief that we'd got a striker in who's a proper striker, sort of, big man who can hold up the ball for us, because we didn't really have any strikers like that. So when they brought him in, it was him or Hogan. He was the other one who was linked with us. And we went with Hugill. And I think the big thing I always do is I look at the first interview that they do at QPR, and they always ask, how do you describe yourself? I think it's always very revealing. And he said, I'm a battering ram. And that is basically what it's been for us. There are moments when his touch is not good enough, but at Championship level he totally compensates for that with the fact that he'll run through brick walls for the team, and that he wins his headers, that he's a nuisance, that he's a bit nasty. He's got all of those things that at times will probably frustrate you if the quality of his sort of technical ability isn't right. Like the game at the weekend, he basically ran and held off a defender for about 30 yards, got to pretty much the penalty spot, and then overran it and basically just missed from 8 yards. But then 4 minutes later, our left back put a cross in and just lofted it up, and he's done this beautiful striker's header into the top left-hand corner. He's scored 6 goals for us so far. He's been so useful because we've got a real footballing team, and he's the guy who can give us the physicality up top that allows us to, on occasion, play it long, which kind of keeps the opposition on their toes instead of just playing, because it allows oppositions to press a lot more. So he's exceeding expectations. He's certainly fulfilled expectations. We were hoping that he would come in and score goals and be better than the strikers that we've had, and be a different option, and he's been all of those. He's not a Premier League striker, certainly not right now. He could be like that Billy Sharp kind of guy who gets promoted and has a great season with the team and therefore is in the Premier League. But as a consistent Premier League striker, I can't really see it happening. So I think he's found a better fit with us at QPR, especially in the Championship, and he's a striker that causes trouble, again, at that level. So the longer we can keep him, the better. You don't seem to want him, so it's all good, and it just let's have him, right?
Thank you very much to my friend James Lawrence Allcott. Go and subscribe to his channel. I'll leave a link in the description down below. Great content over there. Does all these brilliant videos with YouTubers. The process is great, and the Flav and James podcasts are brilliant. Become a patron if you can. Let's move over to Charlton Athletic, over to South London now. Young Josh Cullen. So much potential for young Josh Cullen. Spent last season on loan at Charlton Athletic, playing 29 games. This season, gone back there again. Looks like he's played 10 games. Hasn't scored any goals yet, but playing quite well at that level. I think it's League One. Championship now. League One last year. Championship now. I think he's found his level, to be quite honest with you. I'm sure that Charlton would love to take him on a permanent. I'm pretty sure that they will as well. I think he's into his last year of his contract at West Ham, Josh Cullen. Never gonna quite make the grade, and that's a shame, because I remember the Juventus game a few years back when he played in that. I thought he was our best player by far. I think he should have had more opportunities. He's played in a few cup games for us, of course, maybe a league game or two, but never quite made the grade. He's gone to the Championship with Charlton, League One the year before, where he played 29 games and scored at 1 goal. But he was one of their best players. I'm sure he got voted their Player of the Year last year. So he's gone back on loan to the Championship this year. Doing quite well, played 10 games, playing regularly for them. I don't think he'll ever come back to West Ham. I think this is it for Josh Cullen, as I said, which is a shame, because he's a good player. Over all the way up to the Midlands with West Bromwich Albion. The one that everybody was keeping an eye on, young Grady Diangana, gone up there to join West Ham's ex-manager Slaven Bilic and Julian Dick's ex-management team, and absolutely tearing it to pieces in the Championship. The top of the Championship as we speak. He's been one of their star performers by far. Some of the things I've seen him do, like just highlights, just keeping an eye on him, just highlights. Some of the skills he's pulling off. Someone that I think has got a huge future at West Ham, and I think he's going to come back. People saying about recalling Grady Diangana, but I'm not sure about that, because I think at the moment he's getting the experience he needs. He's getting toughened up. He's learning a lot from Slav, who's we all know is a good manager. He's going to learn how to play the West Ham way, because obviously Slav knows about the West Ham way. 9 games he's played there, 4 goals, a couple of them off the bench. But some of the goals he scored are absolutely magnificent. Magnificent goals, magnificent pieces of skill. I asked my friends over at West Brom Fan TV to give me a little, just a small video, just to tell me how they got on, and this is what they had to say.
I think Grady Diangana has got on really well at West Brom. He's really thrived under Slaven Bilic. His best moments probably were when he came on against Luton at half-time. We were completely, chasing the game. Not a lot had really happened, and he came off the bench and scored 2 brilliant goals. I didn't really have high expectations of him when he first signed. Obviously, I didn't really know too much about him. A lot of West Ham fans have said that obviously he's a really good player, and it's kind of hard to believe until you actually see the player actually play in person. But now I've seen him play, he's been absolutely unbelievable. He hasn't underachieved. He's exceeded all my expectations and all the other fans' expectations, I think. You know, he's brilliant with the ball. He's got a lot of pace. He contributes with a lot of goals and assists. Me personally, I would love West Brom to keep him, but I don't feel like it would happen. I feel like he's got a bright future at West Ham. I know West Ham have got some really good players in there, like Felipe Anderson and players like that, and it's going to be hard for Dejan Garner to get in the team at the minute, but I do definitely believe that he does have a bright future, you know, being so young, playing for the England under-23s. I think West Ham have got a brilliant player on the hands.
Thank you very much to our friends over at West Brom Fan TV. Once again, they produce the West Brom content. If you're interested in more football content, and I think you should be, go and check their link in the description down below. And let's see how Grady Dean Garner gets on this year. Thank you so much. It's just a small video, just to keep you entertained while this international break is carrying on. But thank you very much for joining us on this edition of West Ham Fan TV. Loan updates, I suppose. I'll be back with another one of these later on in the season, checking the progress of all four of these guys. Will they be back by then? Who knows? Leave a comment in the comment section down below to tell me who you're most excited to see come back to West Ham. Which one of these four players? Josh Cullen, Haksabanovic, Jordan Hugill, who I think could still do a job for West Ham, even though he's never been given a chance, or Grady Dean Garner. Join us this week as we build up to Everton. We've got the live shows coming up this week, of course, and then fan cams and all that stuff from Everton. I'll have another musings coming up at the end of this week. Go and check out our t-shirts from the link in the description down below. Brand new Carlos Tevez design out this week, just in time for Sheffield United. You've got to order by the 20th to guarantee getting it before Sheffield United, of course, but you can do that, of course you can. Thank you very much once again. Join us later this week, as I said, for all our content. One thing left to say, come on you irons.